Hey there YouTube, Tristan Blaze here with another Legacy deck tech. What we're talking about today is we're talking about a 12-post variant. It is a budget build. It is a mono green build. The reason why I'm saying it's a budget build, even though it's running cards like Karakas, Dark Depths, some Eldrazi Legends, and some relatively expensive cards, is because the normal variant is blue-green, running 4 copies of Misty Rainforest, 3 to 4 copies of Show and Tell, 4 copies of Tropical Island, and right off the bat that's relatively expensive, minus the fact that to really optimize the blue-green list, you're going to run probably 2 to 3 copies of Candelabra, of Taunos, I believe is how you pronounce it. And that's, God, I don't even remember how much that is, but that was at least $100 last time I checked, about a year ago, so, yeah. This is a mana ramp deck. Now, it's part mana ramp, part beatdown, part kind of like combo, infinite turn, draw a shit ton of cards, nuke permanents, combo kill, with a stage depth sometimes. So it's an interesting build. But what we're going to do is we're going to focus on what I use to ramp up the mana relatively quickly in the game. And to start, we have our 4 expedition maps. It's a 1 mana artifact. You can drop it on turn 1, turn 2, sack it to set up your turn 3 drop. Can search for any land. So any land, so your Cloud Post, Glimmer Post, Vesuvas, any of your utility lands here, which we'll get into, you can easily just pull it up, or just one of your basic forests. Same with crop rotation. 1 green, instant, allows you to do some combat tricks with some of your utility lands, allows you to do some very, very quick mana acceleration with your locust lands. So it does help a bit. It just depends on how you're going to use it. I go with 4 simply because I like to have that little instant like combat trick sometimes. We have 3 copies of Explore. We're running 28 land. Almost half of our deck is land, so being able to play an extra land does help. The cantrip ability also sometimes helps. It just depends on what you draw, really. We have a copy of Oracle of Moldiah. I like Oracle of Moldiah. There's many other mono green, play an extra land per turn. What is it? It's play an extra land on each of your turns. Play with the top card of your library. Revealed, you may play the top card of your library if it is a land card. You could play Azusa, Lost but Seeking. There's a bunch of pardon me. There's a bunch of cards that you could really play, but I like Oracle of Moldiah. It does, to me, synergize rather well with some of the utility cards in my deck, especially when it comes to being able to see the top card of my library. It does kind of help a little. Now, Green Sun Zenith is a way we can search out for our Oracle or our Primeval Titans, and when they come into play or attack, search your library for 2 land. Any land. So it could be basic, it could be anything. Now, once you cast your Primeval Titan, you're going to have an order, depending on what's in your hand, an order of precedent on what to really search for. Predominantly, the way I go for it is if I get a Primeval Titan in play and everything is going the way it should, I get myself the Eye of Ugin and a Karakas, and then when I attack the next turn with the next trigger, I tend to probably grab one of the 12-post lands and maybe a utility land if needed. If not, just another 12-post land to accelerate my mana. But Green Sun Zenith does allow for some pretty good turn 1 plays, going turn 1 Forest, Green Sun for 0 into Dryad Arbor, then going to, say, Expedition Map or Crop Rotate or Pithing Needle, Ancient Stirring, whatever. It allows for a pretty, not really explosive turn one, but a turn one that can kind of set you up for the next few turns to have a little bit more advantage. I then have 2 copies of Into the North. Now you're thinking, Into the North, search your library for a snow-covered land, put it into play tapped. Why are you playing this shit card? Okay, number 1, I'm running snow-covered forests. I'm running 8 of them. But what very few people, at least when I've been playing this deck, what very few people realize, or when I talk about Into the North, very few people realize that. Look at what that says right there. Legendary snow land. Most of us forget the snowland part, and even I forgot it at first. I didn't even remember it, and I was like, wait a second, snowland? I got a couple of these. So I put them in there, and it's kind of like another way to just get my Dark Depths out. You know, just get it out there, and just boom, there it is. You know, and like, okay, LOL, let's have some fun, because we're going to have a little bit of fun here. So for the mana base, 4 Cloud Post, 4 Glimmer Post, 4 Basubas, and our 8 forests, basic snow-covered forests, are the mainstay of our deck. Now, this lets you generate insane mana. For every Locust land in play, you get an extra. This taps for 1 for each Locust land in play. Okay? This gains you 1 life for each Locust land in play when it comes into play. This can copy anything. Copy any land. And if it does, it comes into play tap. So you can copy Cloud Post for more mana. Or you can copy, say you're going against a burn deck, you can copy Glimmer Post for more life gain. Okay, when you're gaining 20 life a game, it gets pretty tough for a burn deck to really seal the deal when you're gaining 20 life. You know, it's like really, really tough, man. Okay? It is. It's relative. It's kind of tough to do that. Now, for a control element, we're running All Is Dust. Colored permanents. Everybody sacrifices a colored permanent. Or, sorry, everybody sacrifices all colored permanents. For our deck, that would be Oracle of Moldiah, Primeval Titan, Dryad Arbor, and Sylvan Library. That's it. That's all. That's it. We have, what's it, 5, 6, 7 cards. Oh, and our Marat Lage token if we have the token in play before we cast All Is Dust. So at most 8, and we'll put that there, at most 8 permanents that we would sacrifice when casting it. Because everything else is either going to be land or colorless, so we don't care, which is why we do that. For our utility land, Karakas, which allows us to abuse our Eldrazi so we can cast them twice per turn if needed. So you could get your Ulamog, Vindicate, your Kozilek, Tidings, draw 4 cards, or your Emrakul, take another turn. I mean, if you're taking another turn, you really don't need to cast Emrakul again in the same turn, but you could if you wanted to, and this deck can definitely generate 30 mana in 1 turn if needed. But you're going infinite, so just cast it once per turn. The interesting thing you got to understand is even if any of these, first of all, Emrakul is uncounterable, okay? But if Ulamog or Kozilek are countered, you still get the effect. Like, you still get the draw 4 cards, or you still get the Vindicate ability, because it's read as when you cast this, destroy target permanent, or when you cast this, draw 4 cards. So, just because your opponent has counter spells, you can still Vindicate, say, their counterbalance. You know, you can still Vindicate, you know, either the top or the counter, or oh god, you could Vindicate either top or counterbalance. You could still draw 4 cards and then slowly eat away at their card advantage by just having more card advantage. Okay? And if you cast Emrakul, you just take infinite turns, obviously. Now, to search for these 3 bombs, we have Eye of Ugin, all colorless Eldrazi spells cost 2 less. Remember, it says all colorless, which means all this dust is 5 mana when that's in play, not 7 anymore, because it's an Eldrazi sorcery. Emrakul's 13, Ulamog is 9, Kozilek is 8. So it really reduces it. It also lets you search for any colorless creature, not Eldrazi, but colorless creature, which does help when you move into the sideboard. I don't have a sideboard for this because it's kind of in the air, but if you were to, say, run cards like Sundering Titan, you could definitely bring Sundering Titan in and then search it up and then cast it, because you'll have the mana and you could search for it. We have our Dark Depths Thespian Stage combo, which lets us get our 2020 token into play for 2 mana. We have Dryad Arbor, which is able to be searched out with Green Sun Zenith. Now, if you don't want to play Dryad Arbor, that's fine. Just replace it with a basic forest and you'll be okay. We have Bajoku Bog to nuke graveyards for dredge decks, and of course those can be copied with Vesuva for multiple graveyard just wipes per game. And then Glacial Chasm for things like burn, goblins, any type of really fast aggro deck. Glacial Chasm can just lock them out, and then once the upkeep gets too big, you can either drop a Vesuva and copy it, or you can crop rotate into a Vesuva to copy it, and reset the cumulative upkeep, and there you go. We got our Ancient Stirrings. These, I might go up to 3, but I picked 2. And these kind of help dig out your All Is Dust. They do help dig out lands every once in a while. They dig out a land or two. But normally I kind of tend to use them to just look at the top 5 cards and go, oh, hey, here's All Is Dust, and then just, wipe the board with it, which definitely does help. 3 Pythie Needles, main deck. Why? Wasteland. You get a turn 1 needle, name Wasteland. You draw another needle, you name Wasteland again. Okay, unless there's something more important than Wasteland literally wrecking 20 of the 28 land in your deck, you call Wasteland. You need to call Wasteland. That's just how it is. And then I got my 1 Sylvan Library. Now, you can replace Sylvan Library with Sensei's Divining Top if you want. I went with Sylvan because it was green, obviously, and plus I have very few decks I could even fit this in, so hey, why not Sylvan Library? But it works really great with Oracle of Moldiah. You get the Sylvan Library in play. Okay, you get to look at the top 3. You have, say, 1 spell and 2 land. Okay, so what you do is you draw the 1 spell for the Sylvan Library draw. Well, what you do is you end up drawing the land, and through Sylvan Library, let me rebat. Let me just back up a little. A little too much caffeine. You draw the non-land card with Sylvan Library, you put the other 2 land back. Oracle lets you basically play with the top card revealed. Oh, it's a land? Haven't played my land this turn. Play my land. Flip. Oh, another land. Play my land again. So it kind of allows you to abuse Sylvan Library's draw 3 without having to pay 8 life. It happens once in a while. When it works, it's freaking beautiful. It is. Now, Karakas is great because you can just go infinite with Emrakul. You can just continually vindicate things with Ulamog, or you can just keep drawing cards with Kozilek. Most of the time, I tutor up Kozilek first, simply to just draw me more cards. I mean, Emrakul is great, but if it's not going to win the game within that 1 turn, I need more answers, and I get that eye and the Karakas. I go right for Kozilek, draw 4, bounce it back to my hand, draw 4 more, and pray to God I'm drawing answers. You draw 8 cards, I mean, probably have some freaking answers that you've drawn. All in all, I built this deck for about $600. Now, that said, remember, the full budget build, you're running candelabras, you're running blue-green fetches, blue-green duels, show and tell. They're, normally you're probably also going to have stuff like Flusterstorm in the board. So you're looking at very, very expensive blue-green build. In terms of what I would go with for a sideboard, I would not keep it single color. If I could make a sideboard for it, I would go blue, or I would go green-white. Reason being is Green Sun allows me to tutor up things, especially with the amount of mana acceleration we have with our Cloud Posts and Basuvas. I could tutor up Sigarda, host of Herons. I could tutor up Gaddock Teague for some combo fights. I could pull Maze of Ith. Beast from Within, Creeping Corrosion could be some really good cards as well. In the sideboard, Sundering Titan, obviously, Chalice of the Void. Fourth copy of Pithing Needle also would be definitely a big one there. Maybe some more Graveyard Hate, Tormod's Crypt. A couple of Savannahs, I don't know if I've mentioned that. A couple of Savannahs maybe. But the sideboard should be relatively cheap. Savannahs are not $100. Maze of Ith isn't that expensive. You're looking at maybe 20 a pop for Maze of Ith. Just get like 2 copies. You got your 2 crop. You got 4 crop rotations. You got 4 expedition maps. 2 Mazes of Ith. That's 10 copies basically in your deck of Maze of Ith. So you're pretty lucky to run a deck with that, because you could just whatever. Oh yeah, I need it. There you go. You're fine. So that's roughly what I would do for the board. Probably just 2 copies of Savannah, 2 copies of Maze of Ith, 1 Pithing Needle, 1 Sigarda, Host of Herons, 1 Gaddock Teague, 3 to 4 copies, probably 4 copies of Chalice of the Void, and the remaining board could be either Beast from Within or Creeping Corrosion, depending on your meta. And that's if you wanted to go with green-white sideboard. If you want to build this and then slowly build towards a blue-green build, by all means, you could do it this way. But this is a relatively cheap 12-post, mono green. About $600 is what I paid for it. That was a few months ago. It may have gone up in price, but then again, Eye of Ugin was banned, and this was like 50 at one point in time. Now it's like maybe 10. So you're looking at saving money there. The majority of these cards are relatively cheap. Vesuva's about, I think, 20. Karakas is like 100 something, I think now, and Dark Depth is around like 50, 60. But, stuff like the Eldrazi Legends, 20, 30, maybe 40, depending on condition, where you buy them from. Are they Modern Masters? Are they from the actual... I'm blanking on the set name, I'm sorry. Just, are they from the actual set they came from? Damn, my throat's dry. So, this has been Mono Green 12-Post Deck Tech by Tristan Blaze. Like, comment, and subscribe. My next deck tech, tentatively about a month from now, probably around, probably a little bit after July 4th. It's probably going to be Doomsday. Probably Doomsday. If not Doomsday, it would be Grixis Delver. So it's going to be one of those two. I haven't decided yet, but like, comment, subscribe, share this video to any of your Magic friends to help me out and make more of these deck techs. Thank you.